There was a time when playing Fortnite meant you just dropped in with your friends after school, built a few walls, maybe got a couple of kills, and logged off after laughing your head off in a party chat. Back then, no one cared about your stats or mechanics. We weren't trying to master triple edits or VOD review our positioning. We were just kids playing a goofy battle royale that somehow felt like the most fun game ever made. But something along the line, without meaning to, Epic created something new. Something they probably didn't even see coming. They created a whole new type of player. One that's obsessed with perfection, addicted to improvement, and wired to see every match like it's a tournament finale. And the crazy part, it wasn't even on purpose. It was the result of everything they built. It started small. When Epic introduced creative mode back in late 2018, it felt just like another update, a fun sandbox to mess around with your friends in. No one really realized it at the time, but that update rewired Fortnite's DNA. For the first time ever in a shooter, you could actually train, like actually getting better at editing, building, aiming on your own terms in your own maps. And instead of loading into a real match where you had to hope for loot and zone and decent ping, you could just sit in a map and grind. This was the birth of the grinder, players who stopped seeing Fortnite as a casual experience and started treating it like a craft. Creative literally changed everything. Overnight, creative mode became the gym. It was no longer about hopping on for laughs, it was about getting reps in. Players began setting timers for edit courses, speedrunning their piece control, and building muscle memory in the same way musicians practice scales or athletes train footwork. And we all remember that mongrel's editing course. Instead of warming up with a couple games of squads, people were warming up with 30 minutes of box fights and 200 tile edit tunnels. Suddenly, Fortnite didn't feel like a game you just played, it felt like a game you had to prepare for. You'd see kids grinding Raiders edit courses, practicing retake sequences, or learning how to do quad edits even though they never used them in a real game. It became about proving what you could do, even if it didn't always make sense in a real match. But it wasn't just creative mode. Zone wars, box fights, and edit course evolved into full-blown training routines, much like what I create today. Players started posting their warm-ups on YouTube, coaches started making tutorial guides like I am now, and kids who had never played an FPS before were now spending hours just practicing movement tech and their peak shots. What was once a battle royale with some goofy dances turned into some mechanical disciplines, and Epic leaned into it, maybe without realizing the full consequences. They added more mechanics, more movement tools, more item depth, and in doing that, they raised the ceiling of the mastery so high that now there was an entirely different goal: to master Fortnite itself. Over time, the definition of good changed. It wasn't about game sense or wins anymore. It was about mechanics. If you couldn't triple edit or protect yourself while doing a quad layer retake, you weren't considered a good player. And Epic's updates kept feeding this cycle. Every new season came with more complex movement, faster paced fights, and more build variations. Old strategies became outdated overnight. You could be dominant one season and then completely lost the next if you didn't adapt right away. The ever-evolving meta created a pressure cooker where players had to keep improving or got left behind. Epic never directly asked for that, but the environment they created made it almost inevitable. This wasn't how most games evolved. Most multiplayer shooters got sequels, meta resets, soft reboots that pulled players back to zero, but Fortnite just kept growing. The same accounts, the same island, the same grind. It didn't wipe the slate clean, it built on top of it, and that meant every change stacked onto the last, which meant you could never really stop. If you wanted to stay relevant, you had to adapt fast, and that pressure, that urgency, it made grinders hungrier. It made casuals quit. It split the community into two different entirely paths: those who played to improve and those who didn't want to fall behind. This split became even more obvious with the rise of YouTube and TikTok highlight culture. Suddenly, everyone wanted to look cracked. Clips weren't about smart plays or funny moments anymore. They were about clean edits, fast piece control, and one-pump montages set to trending sounds, something that I used to actually make. The definition of cool became linked to mechanics. Players became chasing style and speed over actual strategy. And that pressure didn't just affect pros, it reached down into every skill tier. Even gold and platinum ranked players felt like they had to grind creative or they'd never keep up. It was no longer about beating your opponent, it was about outskilling them. And then came Arena. Leaderboards, cash cups, the rank system. At that point, even the non-pros were playing for something. Your points meant everything. Your division, your leaderboard placement, your Twitter clips, they were now part of your identity. Fortnite had accidentally created a competitive subculture, one that didn't rely on lands or pro status to feel real. Everyone was trying to get better even if they didn't know why. You couldn't just play Fortnite anymore, you had to actually train for it. Even the language changed. Instead of playing with friends, people started saying they were grinding, or you didn't warm up, you had a routine, you didn't get lucky, you timed your peak, or forced the 50-50. Fortnite became less of a game and more of discipline. And What's wild is how many of these players aren't even pros. They're just teenagers in their bedrooms grinding every day, not for fame or money, but because it gives them some sort of purpose. That's the part Epic never could have predicted. They gave us the tools to get better, but they also gave us something deeper, a sense of, identity. Being a grinder in Fortnite isn't just about playing well, it's about feeling like you belong to something. You're part of a generation that doesn't just play video games, they actually master them. And Fortnite, more than any other game, gave you the structure to do that. But it came at a cost, because the same system that empowered you also made you feel like you're never good enough. For a lot of us, Fortnite became more than just a game. It became a way to express ourselves through our playstyle, our mechanics, our decision making, and Epic, probably without even trying, gave us the tools to do that. They also created pressure, burnout, comparison. The type of player Fortnite accidentally created is both incredibly talented and painfully self-critical. We chase improvement, but we're never actually satisfied. We want to win, but we hate how much we care. We say we love the game, but sometimes we play like we're mad at it. We get used to grinding that we forget what it felt like to play for fun. And that's not entirely on us. The structure of Fortnite itself rewards obsession. Ranked seasons with decaying points, rotating metas, daily tournaments, all of it forces you to constantly stay on. And even when you try to take a break, you feel guilty, like my vacation I just took. You start to think about how far ahead your competition is getting. You start feeling like you're losing your edge. And when your identity is tied to your skill, stepping away doesn't feel like rest, it feels like regression. The truth is, the new type of player is a product of passion and perfectionism colliding. Fortnite made a game that was so deep, so versatile, and so customizable that it allowed players to pursue mastery in ways no other shooter really allowed. But it also removed this ceiling. There's no final level in Fortnite. No you made it moment. You can always edit faster, rotate smarter, play more aggressive, survive more third parties, and then there's no finish line. You start sprinting endlessly. That's what being a grinder feels like now. Epic created the blueprint and we followed it to the extreme. But maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe this new type of player, this mechanical, analytical, ultra-competitive version of us isn't just a result of Epic's decisions, but a reflection of something deeper. A generation that wants to be great at something, that wants to stand out. They want to prove to ourselves and others that we are more than casuals, more than noobs, more than just players. We're actually competitors, we're thinkers, we're artists with a keyboard and mouse. And Fortnite just happens to be the canvas. We all want to be a pro. Still, it's important to recognize the toll. The way this path changed how we enjoy Fortnite. For a lot of us, the joy of just playing got replaced with the need to win. The curiosity got replaced by optimization. The friendships turned into duo tryouts. And that's something Epic probably never intended. They gave us the freedom to improve, but in doing that, they also gave us the expectation to never stop improving. And not everyone can handle that. Not everyone wants to. But once you've tasted progress, once you've seen what it feels like to outplay someone perfectly, you can't really go back, can you? And so now we're here, in a Fortnite world where the casual player barely exists, where everyone builds like a finalist, edits like a creative demon, and fights like it's for prize money. It's beautiful, in a weird way, because no other game gives players this much potential to evolve, to master, to reinvent themselves, but it's also extremely exhausting, and sometimes you just want to load in and play again, like you used to, like it was back in Chapter 1. But you can't, because Epic accidentally created a new type of player, and that player is you. And if this video spoke to you, and you're one of those grinders trying to improve every day, we built something just for you. The Flow Improvement Hub is our free Discord with drop maps, resources, teammates, and even free coaching to help you get to the next level without burning out. Links in the description. And if you want more content like this, don't forget to like, comment, and type what player have you become. And use code FLOWIN in the Fortnite item shop to support the channel. Also, if you guys want to get notifications for all my uploads, make sure once you subscribe to go on and click on that little bell and set your notifications to all. Once again, I love you all. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to watch my video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.